A biography of Shlomo Carlebach, and it's fascinatingly filled with a lot of details. But a story yesterday really got to me. In 1963, and remember this is $1963, he gives a concert in Tel Aviv. They pay him $3,000, and the next morning he spends all the money, and he buys food and wine, and he gives 180 families mishloach mana with all the money that he earned the night before, and gives all the money away in the form of groceries and stuff. And I was thinking that tomorrow night we start the Seder, and in Halach Ma'anya, it says at the very beginning, invite those that are coming in that are hungry to come to your Seder. And we do this every single year, and it almost seems like a lip service type of thing. And I was thinking that yesterday we read in the Parsha that the fire had to burn every morning, had to burn continuously, and every morning and every night the Kohanim had to bring wood to put onto the fire. So there's a midrash that says that the fire actually was a heavenly fire, and it always burned. So the Kohanim putting the wood on actually didn't make a difference. But yet they had to still do it every morning and every night. And so I was thinking about this, and as I was reading the biography of Shlomo Carlebach, there's a point in there where he says in Hebrew, there's no one-letter word, meaning that all words have at least two letters. It's a partnership between the letters in a sense. Even the word and, like in Spanish, and is one letter E, the Y, but in Hebrew there is no one-letter word. And so the notion of the fire, to me, was that the Kohanim had to go through the motion of partnering with God in the fire. Even though they had no role to play, they still were part of this process of the fire. So the idea of the other part of the fact of putting the wood on the fire is there actually was more of a process than just putting the wood on the fire. Somebody had to go get the wood, they had to put the wood on the fire, and maybe it would burn differently today, it would have an impact on them. So I think that in the context of going to the Seder tomorrow night, one last thing is that Rabbanit Alyssa yesterday gave her shir and to our morning minyan, and she talked about Shabbat being about Pesach being like Shabbat, and because we count the Omer from the day after the first Yontiv of Pesach, which is called Shabbaton. So as I was finishing up the biography yesterday, one of the things that Timothy Leary said is that had he ever had Shabbat, he never would have needed LSD. And so tomorrow night, as we do the Seder, you never heard that, right? Yeah. Right. So Shabbat was. What? Well, the thing about Shlomo Carlebach was Shabbat was his thing. He wanted everybody to experience the elevation that Shabbat would bring to your lives, even more than drugs, that, as Timothy Leary was attesting to. And so there's a pasuk that we're going to read after Pesach in Parsha Shmini, and it says, Ani Hashem hama'aleh etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim. I am the God that elevated you, hama'aleh, elevated you from Egypt, le'elechem le'lohim, to be your God, v'yitem kedoshim, and you have to be holy. So in the words of Shlomo Carlebach, God, get me high, get me high, get me higher. So have a great Pesach, and hopefully it has an impact on you. Even though we do the Seder year after year, maybe like the Kohanim, you'll have a different feeling as you go through the same motions. Make it something not just same old, but something special.